Wow, wow.
Welcome to DogStar.
Each week we sit down with a star, and this week we have the pleasure of sitting down with Jay James. How you feeling? Thanks so much for coming in.
What was the word you used before? Like a jabroni?
You feeling like a jabroni? No.
No,
I hope you feel like the opposite of a jabroni.
I feel like the opposite of a jabroni.
Excellent. That might be the best response we've had out of anybody in here.
You just used that word before. And I liked it.
a multifaceted artist, to say the least. We're really, really excited to prick the brain of someone with so many thumbs and so many different pies. So
Creative pies.
let's dive into it.
Yeah. So growing up, did you was your like mom and dad creative or doing stuff artistically at all, or do you have like siblings or anybody in your family like showing you cool movies or music?
Man, I was the first creative.
Okay. Breaking the mold.
Breaking the mold a little bit. For sure, I was the first one making movies and doing any sort of like artistic. Well, that's a whole other conversation of the idea of like what you define as artistic.
True.
Because my dad's a carpenter.
Right.
Ah.
It is
He built-
artistry.
he built- yeah, there's
Right.
artistry in that. And I got started with my mom's video camera.
Sick.
So I mean,
We're talking DV tapes, digital.
oh
what era
yeah,
is this?
yeah, oh yeah, they were tapes. Yeah, I still have that camera. I love it so
No
much.
way.
It doesn't work. I want to get it fixed at some point. But
And what age is this? What grade?
I was like 7 or 8. I don't
Whoa,
even remember.
okay,
Yeah,
that's
I was
was,
really little.
was she rocking like home movies and stuff all the time, or was it more
Yeah.
like a white elephant one year, got it, and then didn't really use it, or?
A little bit in between. Like she didn't use it often, but she loved documenting all the family events, all the places that we traveled to at that time, and she was also a real estate agent at the time.
Okay.
So she was taking video
Like the
of
walkthroughs.
Yeah, she was doing walkthroughs. So that was the intended purpose for the camera, was for her business and her personal endeavors. But
Right.
then,
Commandeered by the creative.
yeah, then I came into the picture and found the camera and. Because I don't know, even before that, I was collecting Halloween costumes. I was playing with my toys and coming up with stories and dancing in front of the fireplace in those costumes and just like performing. I was doing like theater for them.
okay.
And I can tell you that some of the most formative experiences that my parents gave me that made me the artist I am today. One was giving me Batman Forever on VHS. I still love that movie
That's
to
a
this
great
day
one.
because of how colorful and vibrant it is. And at the time, that was what just drew me to it. And it introduced me to Jim Carrey. It introduced me to Batman. Like
Yes.
and all those things are such a big part of my life now. So I love that they introduced me to that. They also took me to the theater to watch The Hulk and X-Men 2.
Okay. Now are we talking Hulk or the Incredible Hulk?
Hulk.
Ah, yes.
Eric Bana.
Ang Lee.
Ang Lee.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
X-Men as well.
X-Men as well, both in 03.
That's sick.
That's amazing. Yeah, formative to say the least. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, the feeling of being terrified by the Hulk, the laughter from Jim Carrey, the excitement from watching Wolverine, and all these supernatural characters. Watching my brother gave me his old Ninja Turtles VHS tapes. You remember the
Okay.
80s
The
Ninja
live
Turtles
action.
cartoon?
Go
Oh,
Ninja,
cartoon.
go.
And the live action
Okay,
and the
okay,
movies. Yes, he
okay.
gave me all of them.
Yeah.
All of it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so while I was the first one to start making my own stuff, they planted so many seeds that led me to that.
And had good taste, it sounds
They
like.
had
yeah.
great taste,
That's-
exactly. And that was what made them like my test audience, essentially.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah.
You had mentioned performing in front of the hearth or the fireplace. Were you doing any community theater or even school performances? I'm wondering about your first times in front of a larger audience, whether it was a choir performance at school or an autumn play or something.
I mean, yeah, there was choir,
Mm-hmm.
we'd do shows, but I didn't have any lead parts or anything that necessarily made me
Right,
nervous.
stage fright was kind of cushioned by everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. I was cushioned by the herd.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the first time was when I did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Ah,
Yeah, that was my senior year.
okay,
Nice.
okay.
But really, the performance side of things took a back seat when I found that camera because I
Yo.
just wanted to make movies. I
Right.
loved illusions. Like I said, I loved sci-fi. I loved comic books.
Okay.
So I mean, really, it's so funny. You're gonna hear through this whole story all the different eras that I've been in. Like you said, multifaceted.
Yeah.
But
This was my Schumacher era. This was my Sondheim era. Exactly.
right. I would say that yeah, the first decade or so of my career, like as a kid, was just making superhero stuff. It was just I wrote my own superhero stories. I wrote
What?
Marvel. I wrote DC. I wrote original characters. I made movies with my toys. I eventually started making them with my friends. I got all the costumes. We did this
Yes.
stuff. We made Metal Gear Solid movies. We made.
Whoa.
They're all still on YouTube too.
I was
They're like-
just about to ask
they're all
if
like
we can
14
find
years old.
these.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
They're
If you
super
can
old.
put the links to those videos in the comments,
Yeah,
that'd be
I
great.
will have to
please.
sift through because there's some things I do not want you to see.
Oh
Man.
It's just very embarrassing.
But a part of the artistic journey, you know, as corny as it may seem now, you know, you were sharpening your tastes, sharpening your eye behind that camera.
yeah, and something that we were talking before this, and we'll be bringing him up here in the show. But my collaborator on Unfinished Products, the album, Preston, he started off doing the movies with me. He became like he was like actually one of the first like physical actors because he was a wrestler, so he
Yeah.
actually looked like a superhero.
Nice.
He pulled that off really well. But
That's so fun. And then, yeah, we normally ask people if they're from Minnesota. You were born in Minnesota?
oh yeah.
And then we were talking a little bit before the show. North of the cities, in school, were you able to do any of this creative stuff? I know elementary school might be like early for those kind of extracurriculars, but
Prior to Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dream.
right.
Yeah, well, up until high school, I was just bullied for it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was just that was hey, but I'm not saying that to get sympathy. There's a good lesson you learn from taking that early on, that rejection. That's
Before
important.
you're,
Yeah.
this is what I've decided to do with my life, and now you're judging me harshly for it.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure you both know that kids can be
Oh, the
very
meanest.
Oh yeah.
The meanest.
Oh yeah. So they helped me develop thick skin early on because it was like, am I gonna quit because these guys are picking on me?
And were they even seeing the final products or what?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, to be completely fair, they were terrible.
okay.
But
okay.
I was also like 12 when this was happening. So it's
But
like
isn't art supposed to
Yeah,
garnish
of
a
course it's
reaction?
terrible.
Any
Yeah,
emotional reaction?
exactly.
Even if it's, you should stop making this? No. But,
So were you putting your stuff up on YouTube?
Yeah.
And oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
and then was the fan flamed once you got into high school, or was there like access to a class or just a group of people?
Yeah, it was the Hornet Broadcasting show, which you might remember that Mrs. Toppy, the librarian
Yes.
at Big Lake High School, did. I can't
Shout
believe
out Keon McGarvey.
yeah. I didn't think we were gonna be name dropping him, but yeah, that was where I got access to cameras for the first time. Got to see
Okay.
what a set looks like.
Nice.
And then my stuff started getting funny.
Oh.
And people stopped making fun of me. But then the thing is too is that the support by the school wasn't there as much because when they found out the type of videos I was making on my YouTube channel,
Right, with their cameras.
only one time.
Okay. But
Only
they were a
once
little
I-
less enthusiastic,
Only
perhaps.
once, I swear. It was all my equipment, but it was, I mean, what do you expect a bunch of teenage boys to
Yeah.
be doing at a certain point?
Yeah.
Like, We were doing some heinous stuff. So
Oh,
they
no.
saw that and they were like, we can't have your face
Oh, no.
representing us when you're
Right.
on the internet with more followers than we have.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Like you got guns, you're killing people, there's
Right.
blood.
Yeah, heinous. We're trying to, you're the opposite of what we're trying to convey. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. That is hilarious.
I'm like, lady, this is comic books.
Exactly.
But none of that was enough for them to be like, sorry, dude. Like, if you keep doing this stuff, we can't.
And what was the crossroads for you as a creative? Was it just like, did you remain involved in Hornet Broadcasting, or was
No,
it
I
just
was
like,
fine.
yeah,
I
Okay.
don't care.
peace out, right?
No, I was a rebel through and through. I wanted to make what I wanted to make, and I didn't want to compromise on it, which
Right.
in hindsight, I do regret in certain instances. I regret that heavily.
Is there a specific instance maybe that can be formed into a piece of advice for younger artists who
Yes.
never
want
want to compromise on anything?
Yes. When you're young and you don't know anything, shut up and listen. Take every opportunity to learn something. I, as you just heard, completely understand the desire to just make your vision come to life with no compromises, but you don't know anything yet. And having access to information now, I mean, granted, yes, we do have YouTube University and all that, but getting good post-secondary education is expensive. So anytime you can learn something in public school early on, take full advantage, be open to learning, be respectful to the people that are showing you those things, because it is a privilege to have that. And that's what I regret, was not taking advantage of the opportunities that they were giving me, not compromising on that. Because even though I love a lot of the things that I made after that, and I don't sit here ruminating on it in regret. It's
Right.
just like I said, it's that wishing I had utilized the information and the teaching that people were willing to give me at that time, so I didn't have to seek it out myself later.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, post-secondary education is expensive, and doing it for art is not a guaranteed living afterwards, so you might end up in a lot of debt. This is very valuable. It's always valuable, and if anybody's willing to give that to you, respect them, listen to them, and then as soon as you have your own camera and you have your own platform and you're free, do what you want. That's also important. That is the
Yes.
flip side to the equation, right? The devil's advocate, so to speak, is that, yes, I wish I would have just bit my tongue and conformed for a little bit so I could get access to certain resources that I ended up
Yeah.
not having.
Oh,
But,
right.
Right. That's why there is that massive regret. But on the flip side to the regret is the appreciation for the fact that I got to spend a lot of my life making the art that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
And the reason why I have so much gratitude for that now, and that stubbornness, because you can use that as a tool.
Right.
I appreciate it because all I've heard now from directors in Hollywood is, especially if they're working for someone like Marvel, is like, I have to constantly take away from my own vision. I have to constantly compromise. And it's just killing it for me. It's not worth it. And I look at that and I'm like, well, at least I know that I don't want that now.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not the end goal of, being the director of a huge blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Your say isn't going to go past the first line of producers, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, to be able to eliminate that as early on, I mean, you're spouting so much wisdom. We really, really appreciate, again, the honesty and the transparency, especially as an artist in an era where I want to say transparency is becoming more popular
Yeah.
from the previous era of, gatekeeping and, sign up for a 3-day session and I'll tell you my thoughts on
Yeah.
how to make a film. So again, we really, really appreciate your honesty and openness, especially with the next generation of creators.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I was thinking about these things of what I wanted to say beforehand. I've been thinking about this stuff so much, and I think that a lot of us, a lot of artists grow up in these small towns where we're very disillusioned by what's around us, and we create this dream in our mind of getting into Hollywood because we want to be somewhere where we're accepted, and our gifts are, because this is a gift to have. I'm not saying it's exclusive to artists or that like I'm gatekeeping it, because I think anybody can be creative. Like I even said before about like how defining artistry. But at the same time, the ability to create music and to create films is a beautiful gift, and I'm so grateful for it. And I do believe that it should be celebrated if somebody has that gift, and you should encourage that person. So that's what I because a lot of people don't get that, and when they don't get that, they have to create that in their mind. And that dream of Hollywood is very like it's hard, it's cutthroat, and like I'm saying, I realized I didn't even think it was worth it in the end.
Exactly.
Because I just want to make the thing that I want to make, and I don't want to compromise to these buttheads.
Yeah. I did want to ask when you started making music, because we know you have projects out. And was that in high school that you started doing? Because I know you play guitar, and I guess now we can say you play bass. But when did that start?
That was also high school.
Sick.
Yeah, we had guitar classes.
Yo.
What's one cool thing? Big Lake did have a lot of music classes. Yeah, so I took advantage of the guitar classes. I took piano lessons there, or piano classes there too.
Sick.
Sucked, but
I mean, again, it's something, you know.
yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
something. Yeah.
Any early bands that you were rocking in?
All right, so I'm making sure to keep the timeline in my head. So at this point, 10th grade, Preston and I have met. Preston is doing the movies with me.
Yeah.
Preston is also a drummer in the rock band I really want to be in.
Oh.
So after the second year of guitar lessons, I go to him and his band and I say, hey, can I join? They're like, we'll let you audition. I audition. They rejected me.
Oh, no.
What? Yeah.
You had the in.
I had the in even with Preston, but they're like, you're just not what we're looking for.
Exactly.
Which,
A bunch of 10th graders going, nope.
I was like, come on, guys. No one else around here wants to do it.
Right.
Oh, that hurt. That was a gut punch. But
Humbling, I hope.
Yes.
Maybe in
actually,
hindsight,
no.
but
Actually, no.
not at the time.
No, I was pretty arrogant at that time. I was like,
nah.
no. I'm very honest about those things, because I was still in that like, oh, this is your fault. You're the a-hole
right,
yeah.
situation. Right, I hadn't grown out of that yet. So, but I mean, Preston and I were still friends. But then, did movies for a few more years. And when I got out of high school, I didn't do any more theater because I just wasn't.
Let's pick up after the break with after high school. We're sitting down with Jay James. You can look up his music on Spotify. You can check out jjamesfilms.com and search JJ Films for all of his stuff.
You can follow DogStar at DogStar Podcast, and you can listen to this episode anytime, wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll be right back. Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Bow wow.
Welcome your booty back to DogStar.
Sitting down with Jay James.
Yeah.
We were talking about the band, the music, the start of your music career. You said you wanted to be in a band, knew how to play guitar.
Auditioned.
Shut you down.
Oof, shut me down.
Oof.
And
3
then
years
did
later.
you smash your guitar after that, or you just put your nose back down and kept working on it?
Just kept working.
Nice.
Just kept playing. Yeah.
And doing it Jack White style. Did you have
Justin
any
Bieber style,
solo band or?
So, rest of high school, I just didn't do music. I just kept with my film stuff. And then I made a feature film right out of school. And then I told you about the play I did. I also started acting in the Twin Cities here. So that was how I started getting into the scene here,
Right.
which is now where we are hanging out.
Exactly.
Which is great. So that happened, and then what happened with the feature film?
What is a feature film? Just so the audience.
Like full-length movie. Like this was like my first attempt of making a real movie.
So it's like over an hour is feature length? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like an hour and 10.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
So it was something you'd see in the movie theater, basically.
It's something you'd watch in the movie theater.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
tight.
awesome.
What was
Well-
that? What was that about? Or
It was.
What's the elevator pitch?
yeah.
So it was if Terminator and Blade Runner 2049 had a kid, and it was really bad and cheap and.
I'm looking through your partial filmography here. Is this Flair? Is this The Painter Upstairs?
Nope. There's a reason it's not on there.
Oh.
And this ties into why I started the band.
Whoa.
Take it away.
So
Well, I mean, so you were doing video shorts and then decided to do a feature length project. What was the draw to the feature length, or is that just something you'd always aspired to do?
always wanted to do one.
Words.
Yep. So I finally did it, and it turned out, and this happens a lot in the film world, it turned out so bad it was unreleasable. It was just like as a real movie, like you're saying, when you'd go and watch in the theater, it just didn't cut it.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of those hard pills to swallow. And I had such a hard time swallowing that pill that I left movies after that. I quit.
Whoa.
And I've started a band with my friend Caden, who helped me with that movie.
Yo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's how this all ties back.
Wow.
I met Caden because he needed help on one of his movies. He was doing a school project where he was playing Rambo. I don't know what it had to do with the
Whoa.
class. It was, or not Rambo, it was a Rambo type character named Danger Son.
Exactly. It's its own proprietary thing.
Yeah, so check out Danger Son live on YouTube. Don't. I helped him with that, and then he, in return, helped me with The Traveler. He threw me through a table, which is great.
Yo.
That was awesome. That was one of my favorite parts of that movie.
And do you still, for lack of a better phrase, do you still own the negatives of the film? I know.
Oh,
It
yeah.
probably wasn't. I mean, was it shot on film, or
No,
I'm
it was
using
shot
it
on my-
colloquially? Do you have it on a hard drive somewhere? You could re-release it in 20 years on the or in 70 years on the J. James retrospective.
No.
No, it won't get a cult following like House or The Room.
Right.
Because I personally can see the value and beauty in any piece of art, no matter how cringy, poor it's made, how much the director Alan Smithied it. You know what I mean? Like,
Here's the deal. There's a strong connection between a writer, director, actor, frontman, songwriter, and narcissism.
Hey.
oh yeah, big time, big time.
And I don't want to release that movie because I wrote, directed, acted, edited, did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's so me. Look how cool I am. Look at me trying to be an action star. It is the pipe dream. It is that Hollywood pipe dream I was telling you about earlier. It is so the embodiment of my inner child is hurt from the rejection of people.
Yeah.
And I'm compensating for that in my mind by pursuing this dream in which the end goal is endless validation, love, acceptance from people. That's why I can't release it, because that's just so embedded in that project. I made it for all the wrong reasons.
What a beautiful documentation of that time in your life, though. I mean, because you can see the subtext of it when you watch it yourself, at
Right.
least. And then,
Yeah.
you know,
But
I'm sure tons of people could relate to it.
Like if I showed it to my 12-year-old nephew, you know what I mean? He would probably love it. He'd
Because it
probably
is
love it.
I
big,
showed it
big
to
He
me.
is a
main character
burgeoning
energy.
narcissist.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, big main character energy.
Yeah, exactly.
All over it.
So, but can I ask, are you frequently revisiting this, or is it something that is haunting you weekly? Will you ever sit down on your birthday and be like, all right, let's see where I came from, just as kind of a reminder? Or is it because you would have deleted it permanently if you didn't see some value in it?
I mean, I'm talking about it publicly.
Yeah.
Ew.
And the reason I'm talking about this is because I'm in a phase in my life where I'm forgiving even that younger version of myself and learning to not hate that person anymore.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was the right answer. I was like, oh, I'm way better now. Like, this guy before me, he sucked. Like, I
It's a
hate
different person.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Right.
He created so many problems for me. like got me into so much trouble.
Yeah.
Like, screw him. But now I'm like, no, that guy helped make who I am now. And there
Straight
is
up.
value in going back. Preston was in that movie as well. And he's great in it, actually. He is.
He steals the
Action
show.
Jackson.
Him and my friend Sarah are great. I met her doing the play.
Oh, tight.
Yeah, and I had her play one of the characters in it. And
Perfect.
yeah, they were phenomenal.
Quick sidebar: who'd you play in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
Issachar, one of the brothers.
Ah, dude. That's
Yeah,
epic.
Oh, it was a great experience. It was so
Yes.
fun. That was a really transformative experience because between meeting Caden, doing Danger Son, and then doing Joseph, and meeting all my brothers in that story, they were the Stoners and Big Lake, and
Perfect.
Yeah.
introduced me to Pink Floyd and the Doors and
Simon and Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel. Yep.
Jack Kerouac.
Jack
No.
Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg. No, actually, like the way I describe it is that them introducing me to Pink Floyd and then eventually getting Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl was when my third eye opened.
Yeah.
And suddenly I was having all the realizations, or I was starting to have the realizations that I'm still having to this day, the awakening, so to
Yes,
speak.
Yes.
That spiritual, artistic awakening. It's like you go from your, what did you say before, your Schumacher era to your David Lynch era. Seriously, though, that was when I started learning about all the alternative art and
Thought
just
even.
Yeah. And so then when I started that band with I keep saying I started it. Caden started the band. His name is Caden Agri, and he's a musician in Colorado. He runs an open mic just outside of Denver. I can't remember the name, otherwise I'd plug it more, but he's got a great laptop.
Hey yo.
Leave it in the comments. What's the band called?
It was called Slow Speed.
Aha.
One word, 2 words.
One word.
Hey, I like
Yeah,
it.
it
I
was
like it.
Caden's idea. It was Caden Agri on bass, myself, songwriter. Well, we started doing with covers, but vocals and rhythm guitar. Saul Cox of Red Fletcher was on lead guitar, and then we had Max Markuson for the few months playing drums, but then someone came and auditioned to play drums in my band a few
Oh,
years
no.
after I auditioned to be in his band and play guitar and vocals.
So who comes knocking at
Who
the
comes
door?
knocking at my door? Or more specifically, invites me to Perkins one night and buys me dinner.
Had the wound healed? Were you able to collaborate
Oh,
again?
yeah, 100%.
Yo.
Well, we were still doing the movie, so like
That's
this
what's
is
up.
just a dramatization. I really didn't. At this point, I did not care that he didn't want me
right.
in his band.
You guys, exactly. You needed a drummer, I would assume.
Yeah, well, and he wanted to be in the band because we got to the state fair that year, and so he was like,
Yo.
"Well, I
Oh.
thought you guys sucked, but you're
Hold on,
actually like doing things."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
how'd you get to the state fair? Was
Yeah.
that
Competition?
right
or-
place, right time? Or?
here's some advice.
Yes.
Quality is important, yes, but when you are beginning, the thing that is most important, you can be the greatest musician, but if you don't have energy, if you don't have presence, if you're not making people feel something, they're not going to care. At least not as much. Other musicians who know the craft and you're doing it well, they will pay attention. But you're going to a small town county fair, those people want to feel like they want to drink and like party when you go up
feel
on
like
stage.
they're 17 again.
They want to feel like they're 17
Exactly.
again. Yep, and we knew how to do that. We had that
Yo.
energy. We jumped around. We had antics. We had those crazy replacements. Stevie Ray Vaughan's. What was it? His not MTV Unplugged. Oh my God, why can't I think of it right now? Maybe it was his Unplugged. But obviously we were crazy. We were nuts when we were on stage. I was screaming in the microphone. Caden had the longest hair ever, and he was buff too. So he had like a wireless. He had a wireless cable, so he would run around the stage while playing bass and like go
Oh
stand
my
on
gosh.
tables and like we were just electrifying. We were a shot of lightning in a room, and we were God, we were terrible. But we
That
were
energy
fun,
supplemented,
but we were fun.
yeah.
And oh man, I wish I could get away with that sometimes still.
Straight up. Raw
Yeah.
willpower.
And then that energy, I would assume, just that consistent showing up, playing it, showing up, playing
Yep.
it. Did that catch the ears of like a state fair rep, or?
We were in we won a county fair.
Oh, okay.
And so then
okay.
we used that to get to the state fair.
That's
That is
bomb.
so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we botched the state fair though.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we botched it. That was when band conflicts were high.
Oh,
that was why
no.
Preston had to come in, because just relations with our previous drummer Max.
Whoa.
And again, all of this is fine now.
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I can say his name, and it's not like he's gonna be like, "Oh, I can't believe he." You know?
No. Yeah, it was just the situation. And
Yeah, I mean, we were.
Did you guys at
19.
least do your thing at the state fair? Like high energy, went crazy at the state fair?
No, we were too scared. We were
Oh,
so nervous.
well, yeah, I
Our
bet.
nerves just got the best of everybody. My
Hey.
voice tightened up. It was
Oh,
humid.
yeah.
We were arguing before the show, so we just weren't playing together. We couldn't hear each other very well.
Oh
like
my
technically, it was just
gosh.
kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And we just didn't enjoy playing together anymore. And Preston came in, and he was that second shot of lightning that we needed. He brought us back. I mean, he was so good. He was just a brilliant drummer. He was incredible, and then he encouraged me to write songs. He was like, "Your songs are
Yo.
good, dude. I didn't think you could do that, but your
That's huge.
your screenwriting abilities have translated to songwriting really nicely.
Yo.
You should keep doing this."
That's so
and
awesome.
dude, he was just so on my side for that. It became like two factions at a certain point where one side still wanted to do like covers and play 3-hour band shows, which is a great way to make money if you're a musician.
Yeah.
But I was a songwriter. I was expressive. I was an artist. I was a
Right.
filmmaker. I cared about how I presented things. I was big on the presentation. I like the song order, what songs we went right into, what songs we paused in between was important to me. And like the whole flow of the show, the whole thing, it wasn't like even that theater background came into play where it was
Curation
like
of the
the
show.
curation of the show, exactly. Being deliberate with certain things like that. We had multiple versions of the same song because we were like a Pink Floyd type deal where, I mean, not as good, but, we had like a 17-minute song that chronicled the story of someone getting pulled over by a cop with weed in his car, that was our thing. And I loved that. I wanted to keep doing that. But once you decide to be an original group, it's a different path.
Right.
It's very different. Once you choose to take those experimental jam sessions and be like, those are the songs now. That's what we're going to play instead of the crowd-pleasing stuff. I'm tired of that. I don't want to be a monkey on stage. No offense to people that do.
Well,
Like I
or
said,
to the monkeys.
Yeah, more power to the
Exactly.
monkeys, honestly. Like, I'm too pretentious to want to do that. And I was pretentious. Still kind of am, but I have no shame.
I mean, I think a healthy amount of pretension is.
Having an identity.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like the stubbornness. It's
Exactly.
like too much of that is problematic. But if you
and you.
but a little dosage of it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
I apologize for
No,
interrupting.
no, it's okay.
After the state fair, what was the fate of the band? Was it
Rename or
continued?
just
Nope.
new
disband,
drummer?
renamed, or-
Dude, we ended up moving in with Caden's dad, and we had
Whoa.
a band house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was for the next 2 years. I was living that rock star life.
Hey.
Where it's creativity,
Just creative explosion.
over and over. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, late night jam sessions till like 3 in the morning.
Bottles of Jack
just
Daniels,
bo-
snorting lines of ants.
It was peak debauchery for my life.
Whoa.
Definitely, I can say that. Like a lot of things that you imagine that you would do in that rock star life were done.
Rocking and rolling.
rocking and rolling. I lived that life.
But
And-
how was that conducive to your creativity? Because it's not like the creativity stopped. You know what I mean? Just the environment.
The environment destroyed me. Yeah.
But not that creative spirit.
Never. No, I wrote some of my best stuff. I wrote songs I wrote in that time. People Stay are still my best songs. And I thought that was blasphemy. I was like, I thought initially when they said that it was discrediting what I had accomplished since then. I thought I developed as a songwriter. You don't understand. These new songs are better. But it goes back to that idea before. It's the energy in those songs.
Right.
There's that, like I said, that time destroyed me, and that despair and that those feelings are in those songs, and people resonate with that.
True.
That's the most important thing. And
As I would think people would resonate with your feature-length film.
Aha.
To loop it back, we're sitting down with Jay James here on DogStar. We're working our way through, I'd say, still the beginnings of your artistic journey, and we're moving into present day, or at least into this decade.
Getting closer.
Make sure you go to jjamesfilms.com as well as follow him on Instagram.
J James Films LLC.
Boom.
And YouTube is JJ Films, and Spotify for the music, which we'll be talking about more in the next segment, is J James on Spotify and SoundCloud for those extra little nuggets.
Make sure you pick up your DogStar merch and DogStar hats. Make sure you follow us at DogStar Podcast on Instagram and wherever you get your podcast. We will be right back with more J James on DogStar.
Oh, wow.
Bow wow.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back to DogStar.
Sitting down with J James. We were teasing, gonna be talking more about the music when we came back. Am I in the right spot?
Yeah, we're working our way from the middle period, let's say, to present day. Please continue.
yeah, so unfortunately, COVID killed Slow Speed. But by this point, Preston and I were living together at the place I currently live at here in the cities. And thankfully, I don't know how I managed this, but I was lucky enough to get a practice space in both, like the first two places I ever lived on my own. Had a room where we could practice.
That's huge.
Nice.
Yeah. So when he moved in, we set up space in there, and Unfinished Products was born. We wrote a ton of songs. Unfinished Products the album has 9 tracks in total. We wrote so much more than that. There is so much material. It's insane. I wrote at least 100 songs in that period. That was like my songwriting boot camp period. And everything on Unfinished Products it's just what made the cut.
Nice.
Fascinating. Now, my research shows around this time period, a group called DMWF formed. What is this connection with the Unfinished Products as a group at this point in time?
That was the original name.
Oh, that
And-
makes perfect sense.
And DMWF used to be, it's short, it's an acronym for Dirty Mac and Waylon Free. Because what this project started as was actually, remember what I told you before about the presentation?
Yeah.
So Preston knew that I liked that, and so he's like, what if we create fictional characters
Yo.
for ourselves to play that are satirical of celebrity culture?
Okay.
Like,
awesome.
we make ourselves the grossest, most unattractive looking guys.
Some WWE type of thing. Where
Yeah,
it's just the
like,
heels.
yeah, like
Mickey
the
Avalon.
anti-bad boys,
Right.
or the anti-boy group sort
Right.
of deal. Yeah, so I was Dirty Mac, and that was like a character that I created. My beard was super long, my hair was scraggly and long. It's hard to make Preston ugly, but he just like, I don't even remember what he did. I think he just had an ugly personality. but that was sort of the idea behind it when we were
Sick.
coming up with it. It was that, yeah, Dirty Mac and Waylon Free were our personas. We were fully, we were self-aware of the fact that we had personas as artists, and we leaned into that. and we were planning on wearing costumes and everything for our performances. But
So I'm sure a bunch of the songs you're talking about that you wrote were as those people for the, the maybe hundreds of songs you said you were writing during
yeah,
that time.
yeah,
Was the final songs on the album, were they less that, or what made you pick the ones that were on the album?
it was just the best and the worst thing about me oftentimes is how ambitious I am.
Mm.
And we decided in the end to drop the concept and to just do that name, Unfinished Products, which retains the concept
Okay,
because the name Unfinished Products is still being self-aware of the fact that this is a product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also unfinished. Like it's very literal in the sense that it was unfinished because I didn't know how to mix things properly. So it was just like, but we did the whole thing by ourselves. We wrote it together, we recorded it together, and I mixed it by myself and mastered some tracks by myself even.
And what was the hesitance of dropping it there in 2021? End of 2021. I mean, I know you just said you guys didn't have the ability at that moment of time to master it. And did you have, I'm sure it was exciting to have this project.
Yep.
But was it just being aware that, well, we need this last step? As excited as we are, we can't release it unfinished, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, well,
because I personally, I'd be excited. It's COVID times. We're angsty. We got to release something. Why not, release it unmastered?
Well, that was the time he had decided to join the military, and the project ended at that point. And then I had to make a choice. And it was like, okay, we got these songs demoed. Do I finish it? Or do I just kind of do what I did before? Don't finish the project. Don't finish the film.
Right.
Go back or go into music.
Right. Let it fizzle out.
Let it fizzle out. Go to a different artistic path to avoid truly mourning the loss of the last one,
The hit.
or at least my perception of it being lost.
Totally.
But this time it was like, I can't do that. I didn't finish The Traveler. I have to finish this. Like, I'm tired of not finishing projects because these aren't the only, or The Traveler wasn't the only project I never finished. As an artist, there's tons of projects you start up that never get finished.
Right. Stuck in your own development hell.
Yeah, exactly. And this I knew was good. There were a lot of slow speed songs that I wrote that I knew by this point were not good. I knew when my writing was good and I knew when it was bad. And this was good. And I had enough faith in the project to finish it on my own. And I was like, once I finish this, I'm going to go out, be a solo artist, and just be Jay James.
Yeah.
And I'll play these songs. And I'll release the songs because we made it this far. And this is like my testimony or this is like my proof of concept. This is, this is what I can do just on my own. I wrote these songs. I performed vocals, guitar. I wrote all the parts. Except the drums. Like this is what I can do with nothing.
Right.
So if you give me something, like you'll get a better.
Just imagine,
Yeah. This is what it'll sound like.
That's awesome. And was it just was it just performing in the Twin Cities, or was it more networking at that point once Preston had left, or?
Yeah, it was just networking, playing open mics, and then starting to book shows, and that's what I'm doing now. I just film is my priority. Film is my moneymaker, so it's important that I focus on that right now. But I'm always writing songs. It's a very therapeutic outlet for me, and I think right now, especially what I'm writing, the new stuff that I've been writing, a couple new tracks, a lot of new tracks. I think will resonate with people on a really deep level right now. I think it might be something that some people could really use. So it is something that's in the back of my head. It's something I have intentions to move forward on. I've played the songs live. People are starting to hear them. My friends love them. I just got to shout out my friends, by the way. Rin, Tanner, Jack, Joe, Darnell, Torin, all of you. If I didn't say your name, I didn't forget you. It's just so many of you that I love, and I thank you so much for supporting me and for coming to my shows and for giving me honest feedback on my songs. They are honest, and I love that. When they love something, it's true, and you know they're not just saying it. So
People tend to listen when you share your soul.
yeah.
Hey.
I wanted to ask, before we dive into them, your representative sent the second and the third tracks off of the project, and I wanted to ask you to lead listeners into what they're about to hear. So why pick these two tracks, and maybe set the scene of each one? We've got about 2 minutes left.
The reason I chose these two songs is because they are the closest to what my current sound is.
Okay.
In terms of what you can expect from future releases from me, it's very much in the realm of these two songs. The sound that this album, Unfinished Products, it was an experimenting. It was experimenting. It was figuring out through all my influences, through all our influences, Preston and I's, which ones are going to define us the most, what's going to lead us to our sound. And that album, it led us to the sound, and everyone's favorites are The Citadel, Solicitous. So there's a few other ones, like I said before, some of the earlier stuff I wrote on there.
Oh yeah,
People
who's
like
who's Brianna?
Huh?
Who's Brianna?
Bran is a fictional character.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
She's based on a real person, but I'm retaining their anonymity. But she is a fictional character that is based on it's the exploration. That song is the exploration of a teenager experiencing suicidal ideation, which is something that's I experienced. A lot of other people I knew
very
experienced.
real.
It's really common. That teenage angst, when taken to its extreme, does make you feel that way. And I just, there was someone in real life that took their life, and actually there's a lot of that on that album. This idea of like keeping the dead alive. Or immortalizing them in a sense. And there's actually some lyrics on that in Solicitous. So this does tie into it a bit. But yeah, a real life person took their own life when I was in middle school, and that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I really, at that time in my life, was just having that awakening, that second awakening, and I thought about her more, and I was just like, I can't even imagine what she was thinking. But that song is my interpretation of what her life must have been like before she did that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, we can't thank you enough for continuing to make such honest art. No matter what, we really hope you continue doing that, and we look forward to continuing to watch your trajectory. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
Check
so much.
out all J. James' work, including a bunch of music videos and
Yes.
some hip-hop music videos to check out. jjamesfilms.com and J. James Films on YouTube.
Thank you so much for joining us on another phenomenal episode of DogStar. You can stream every episode wherever you get your podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bow wow.
Bow wow.
shame. It's time for me to walk away. As the sun rises, I'm waiting on the other side. Wanted to infiltrate the city of your mind, but the same habits create the same mistakes, and so the streets remain crowded yet empty. Yeah. And as the sun rises, I'm waiting on the other side. Oh, you know that I was just trapped inside the Look into your eyes, see what's too afraid to come out. But I only understand after living it myself. Can't help but think that